Hi, welcome to this week's Building Block Moment. So this week we are working on self-reflection and self-regulation in our home. And we work on these things often because they are necessary. The scripture that we're focusing on this week is from Colossians 4 and 6. And it says, "Let your speech be at all times gracious and pleasant, seasoned with salt, so that you will know how to answer each one who questions you." So the context of this scripture is really talking about using wisdom when you're speaking to non-believers or people that don't know Christ, and maybe that's you. So I hope that what I'm saying will be seasoned with salt. And seasoned with salt is really just, if you think of food and you put salt on food, it makes it taste better, right? And so, in essence, this scripture is telling us that we should be doing the same thing with our words. We should be making sure that what we are saying, when it comes out, it is received pleasantly from other people, right? And so this takes a lot of thought. And this is an area that God has worked on with me for many, many years. I was for sure the child that said whatever came to her mind. And not always, not to be disrespectful, not to be rude. It's just, it was a thought. And you have a thought and you just say it. So God really helped me in this area, particularly when I was a teacher. I think that teachers just, you have to be so careful in what you say to children and how you speak to children, right? And so there are three things that I would always ask myself, or I try to always ask myself before I spoke, before I corrected children. And even when I was an administrator, when I had to correct maybe a teacher, and now as a parent. So proactively, I would ask myself these three things. Is it necessary? Is it kind? Am I being used by the enemy? So let me break down those three things for you. So is it necessary, right? Sometimes we all have things that just come to our mind and we just say them when they come out, right? We just say it. And I was for sure that child. So I really had take a beat now before I engage in a conversation or before I say anything. Like, is this even necessary? Second thing is it kind? Sometimes we think we're being funny. Sometimes we think, I don't know why we say the things that we say, sometimes just being sarcastic, but particularly with children, they don't always understand sarcasm. So I try to watch that. And then finally, this third one, it takes a lot of thought and also asking the Lord for wisdom. And that is, am I being used by the enemy to possibly discourage someone or to distract them today, or do anything that could be negative? And so that one really takes a lot of thought. And so these are things that I thought that I was doing pretty good in, but the Lord revealed to me most recently that I have a lot of growth still to do in this area. And so I feel like proactively, it's a little bit easier to make those three checkpoints, right? But what God showed me I really need to work on this is in the reaction, right? So proactive, reactive. Reactive, I have some work to do. So everyone doesn't always take those considerations. And so I have to really remember to take that beat and ask myself those same three questions when someone maybe says something to me that is triggering, or that upsets me, or that irritates me, or whatever, all the things that happen in relationships with people, right? Even in my reaction, I need to make those considerations. And most recently, I did not do that. I responded quickly, off the top of my head, and I said some things that I had to apologize for because they were not received well. And that definitely was not my intention. The moment that the question came to me, or the moment that I had, it just made me connect with something else that happened in my past. And I responded out of that, not knowing or not thinking that it could come off the wrong way. And I was confused by the reaction. And I really took the time to like, okay, Lord, what's happening here? Because I just believe that all conflict can be resolved with self-reflection. And if we all would recognize, we'll get into this scripture another time, that we don't fight against flesh and blood. Like, that's another thing that the Lord has revealed to me. We're not really fighting people. We're fighting spirits. Like, we're fighting, just the enemy does not want us to get along. He comes to cause strife in our relationships. He comes to cause divide in our relationships. And so when you are in the middle of a conflict, it's really valuable to pause and stop and say, okay, what's happening here? And in doing that, the Lord revealed to me, hey, you need to, was it necessary? Nope. Did you say it kind? Nope. And could you be being used too? You're focusing on the other person that's being used to come at you, but are you doing the same thing? And so that was like a moment of self-reflection for me. And it reminded me that I need to practice some self-regulation in this area as well. So hopefully this little tidbit moment, building block moment, is helpful to you, as helpful as it is to me. This is something that I am working on. This is also something that I am working on with my children. You need to check yourself before you say something to each other, before we engage at all. And it really brings about peace, and it really, eliminates unnecessary conflict. I mean, conflict's a part of life, right? But this is a conflict resolution strategy that I hope will be as helpful to you as it was to me. Until next time, bye y'all.